The 4.7 closed beta is over, and whatever changes were made to Clorinde will remain that way unless Hoyoverse decides to change something before her release. So in this video, I will share with you some of the best artifacts, weapons and team comps for Clorinde. Before we begin, Wanderers and Baiju's banners are now up on the servers, and here's how you can save some money if you're planning to pull for them. I've been using this thing called Lootbar for over 8 months, and it has saved me tons of money. It's a great way to top up for games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, and as you can see here, top-ups which normally cost $100 in Genshin, cost just $86 on Lootbar. If you're wondering how it works, Lootbar offers the cheapest prices by leveraging favorable exchange rates, and it is in direct partnership with authorized top-up partners of Hoyoverse, so every top-up you do will be processed through Hoyoverse's routing channels. It's 100% safe and secure, so check the link in the description or pinned comment to get an extra 5% discount. As you may already know, Clorinde is a 5-star Electro character who uses a sword as her weapon. She will be an on-field DPS unit and will perform well in teams revolving around Quicken, Hyperbloom and Quickbloom reactions. Clorinde is a pretty straightforward character who scales on attack, and for her Ascension stats, she gets a crit rate bonus of 19.2% at level 90, and her second passive gives an extra 20% crit rate, which we will discuss later in this video. This means that when you're building her, your main focus should be on getting more attack and crit damage stats. The main highlight of Clorinde's kit, or the main source of her damage, is her elemental skill. After pressing E, she enters the Night Vigil state. In this state, Clorinde's normal attacks transform into Swift Hunt Pistolet attacks, and the damage dealt is converted into electro damage. The normal attacks, besides dealing electro damage, will also build 35% Bond of Life until the total crosses 100%, after which she will stop gaining more Bond of Life. During this state, Clorinde can't be healed by other party members, which is obvious, otherwise the Bond of Life would be lost. To maximize her damage, you must accumulate 100% Bond of Life by using her normal attacks before using her skill, so she is pretty easy to use, but one thing that's bugging me is that her uptime is low compared to her downtime. However, that's not a huge problem in my opinion, because when the value of the Bond of Life is less than 100% of her max HP, Clorinde is healed based on the Bond of Life value she has. When the value of the Bond of Life is equal to or greater than 100% of her max HP after using her E, the healing multiplier is increased, and the attack AoE and damage dealt by the lunge is increased even further, so she can heal herself each time you use her skill. Anyway, if you want to read her whole kit, you can do that by checking the link in the description. So let's start with her best artifact sets. For the main stats, your focus should be on getting an attack sand, an electro damage bonus goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet. Ideally you would want the crit damage circlet on her, since you can gain almost 40% crit rate just from her Ascension and second passive, so you can easily get up to 60 to 70% crit rate with the help of sub-stats on different artifacts. With that in mind, the current best artifact set for her would be the new Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy set, as the 2-piece set bonus can increase Clorinde's attack by 18%, and the 4-piece bonus can increase her damage dealt by 54% at max stacks, when her Bond of Life value increases or decreases. As I said, for the sub-stats, your main focus should be on attack, crit rate or crit damage, and energy recharge. The second best option for her would be the Gladiator's Finale set. It is a decent option for her as the 2-piece set increases the character's attack by 18% and the 4-piece set buffs the normal attack damage by 35%. Knowing that her kit revolves around normal attacks, Gladiator's set would be a great option for her. Thundering Fury is also an amazing alternative for Clorinde, as the 2-piece set provides an electro damage bonus, while the 4-piece set gives several buffs depending on the reactions triggered by the character, such as increased damage from Overload and Hyperbloom by 40%, and elemental skill cooldown reduction when Quicken is triggered. Moving on to the weapons, Absolution is Clorinde's new signature weapon and her best in slot option as well. This new weapon provides huge crit damage bonuses from its secondary stat and passive. Additionally, it buffs the character's damage when there is an increase in their Bond of Life value, so yes, Absolution is going to be the best weapon for her. But if you're low on Primo Gems and don't want to pull for her weapon, then you can also use Mist Splitter Reforged on her, but keep in mind that you won't get the Bond of Life bonus from the Mist Splitter. As for the 4-star options, the Black Sword, which is a Battle Pass weapon, is a decent choice for Clorind. It has a good amount of crit rate bonus on its secondary stat, and your character also receives a normal and charged attack damage bonus from its passive. But if you're looking for a free-to-play option, the Lion's Roar or the Finale of the Deep are the best options. The Finale of the Deep is a craftable weapon and the best free-to-play option for Clorind. It provides a lot of attack percent from its secondary stat and passive. Furthermore, this is the only sword in the game that provides a bond of life to its user, which works nicely with Clorind. Moving on to her team comps. In my opinion, every team with Clorind requires at least one more Electro character if she doesn't have enough energy recharge. If you're using someone like Fischl in her team, you only need 100 to 120% energy recharge on her. So my first team for her would be Clorind, Fischl, Nahida, and the last slot is flexible where you can use someone like Kazuha or Baiju. Fischl is an amazing off-field Electro DPS and will work perfectly with Clorind in a quickened team. Pairing them unlocks Electro Resonance, which will help them generate more particles and reduce Clorind's energy recharge requirement. Plus, Fischl can summon Oz on the field, which consistently applies Electro on enemies. At the same time, Nahida can apply Dendro to trigger reactions and help Clorind get her stacks from her first passive, allowing her to buff herself and deal more damage. For the last slot, you can pick someone like Kazuha or another Dendro character like Baiju or Yao Yao depending on your preference. You can also use Kokomi to make it a quick bloom team. It is important to know that Kokomi's Hydro application is slow, which results in generating Dendro cores while still maintaining the quicken aura. Therefore this team works similarly to the previous one for the most part, but with additional Hyperbloom reactions every now and then. You can also use Yae Miko instead of Fischl since she works better in AoE scenarios and deals more damage, but again, it's not necessary. My second team would include Clorind, Chevreuse, Fischl, and Bennett, which is for free-to-play players. While this might not be Clorind's best option, an overloaded team with Chevreuse is also viable. Chevreuse is an amazing support that can buff the team's attack while shredding the enemy's pyro and electro resistance. Meanwhile Bennett provides an additional attack buff and Fischl can trigger electro-related reactions for Clorind, allowing her to stack her buffs and deal a ton of damage. At any rate, these were the best artifact sets, weapons, and team comps for Clorind according to the data we have. More teams or weapons will be added to this list once she's out, and you can watch character guide creators like Xiox for that. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss any updates.